What's up YouTube, and welcome to the Martial Nation YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my martial arts journey and why I started the Martial Nation YouTube channel. So around 6 years ago when I was 13, my brother took me to a boxing club where he'd been training for 2 or 3 years. And this was kind of the first encounter I had with any kind of fighting, if you will. And it was pretty intense. I mean, the training was hard, and at first I thought maybe this is too hard for me, maybe I can't do it, because I wasn't in the best shape, I guess. I wasn't too physically fit, and I wasn't a very sporty person, but I realised quickly that it's something that, you can work on and you'll improve just with persistence. And I trained there for about a year. When my brother left for uni, I stopped going because it was quite far for me to get to, and that was pretty much, for what I saw, the end of boxing for me. I wanted to go, but I just couldn't. So for about a year and a half, I was doing pretty much nothing. I was lazing around as I was before, and I pretty much went back to the same old shape I was in before. So my dad's boss suggested Ray Stevens Judo Club, which was really close to my house. I mean, like, it was a 5-minute walk from my house. And I searched up online and I saw they had a variety of classes. It wasn't just judo, they had BJJ, MMA, I think they had Krav Maga. And, I didn't know much about martial arts, so I started YouTubing all of it. And I was most interested by BJJ. So I told my dad, I'm interested in this. We went down to the club and we had a look at one of the sessions, but the whole class was adults and I was still a small 14, 15-year-old. And so Ray, who ran the club, suggested that I should start doing judo because there was a team class and there were people more my size. So I started judo pretty much the same week, and it was something I thoroughly enjoyed. There was a lot to learn and it was quite different from boxing. But it wasn't kind of changing what I'd already learned because, they pretty much have nothing in common. There was new footwork to learn, but I think it was all, it was really fun. It was a good experience and I learned a lot there. And I trained there for about a year and a half, and for what I could see I didn't want to stop, but I was also into like acting and stuff, and at the time there was a play I was a part of. I had like a major role, so I took off 2 or 3 weeks, and by the end of it I'd lost the routine of going to judo, and I just became lazy again. And it was one of those things, I was young, I didn't really think much of judo, like, oh, I'm lazy, I don't want to go, I didn't want to go, so I didn't go. And then I ended up giving it up. So I took another long break up until the point where I reached 6th form. And for those of you who don't know, 6th form is kind of like the part between high school and university for people aged 16 to 18 or 19. And it was about 2 months in, and I realised, after watching tons and tons of UFC videos, that I needed to get back into fighting. But I didn't want to do just boxing or just judo. I wanted to do both at the same time. And I knew that MMA was the best way forward. So I started searching up some clubs, and I found one pretty close to my house. And I checked it out one night and I realised this was the place for me. It did boxing, judo and more. And I started training there religiously for about a year and a half. And at one point I was on a diet. I cut down about 7 or 8 kilograms, and I was taking the training really seriously. I was attending like 2 training sessions a week, and I was training outside of the class maybe 3 or 4 times a week. But then at one point we had some complications with the coach, and we had to get a new coach in who kind of changed up the syllabus. He started teaching ninjutsu, which I know a lot of you guys believe doesn't exist, but apparently it does, and that's what we were training for a while. So, we were focusing kind of more on self-defense, knife defense. We were working with eskrima sticks. It was a lot more judo and jiu-jitsu orientated, and there was no fist striking. We were kind of doing palm strikes. And after a while, I just ended up getting bored because there was no sparring and there was no kind of practical side to it where we could put our training to use and see the improvements. And so I got bored and I ended up leaving and coming back to my old boxing club. who now train closer to my house. And I'm back to training 2 times a week, pretty religiously. I don't miss sessions anymore, and you know, I'm really enjoying it, and I think boxing is kind of the way forward for me at the moment. It's what I'm really enjoying. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about why I started Martial Nation. I realised how much I actually love and enjoy doing martial arts during my time at MMA, and I knew this was something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I don't really want a regular job. I want something I can do that revolves around martial arts and fighting. So this was the first thing that pushed me towards creating Martial Nation. I knew I had to do something more than just train and fight to be able to create a sustainable living from martial arts. And now about the time halfway through my journey in MMA, I started comparing MMA to Judo and the differences between the training really deeply, you know, and I wanted to find all the good and bad points from MMA. And before a lot of you get mad, this is my personal opinion, but I concluded that MMA does not equal mixed martial arts. Yeah, it's a mix of martial arts, but I don't really think it can truly be called mixed martial arts, because from my personal experiences, really a majority of the people are just learning a mix of pretty much 3 or 4 martial arts, and those would be Judo or wrestling with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai and boxing. And from what I see, that's what most people are learning. I know there's a lot of people who train with a wider variety of martial arts, and I don't want to discredit them, and you know, they're doing good, and yeah, I just think that what a lot of us are practicing, you can't really call mixed martial arts. It's more of a new form of combat. Well, it is a new form of combat, but I don't think it deserves the title mixed martial arts because it's not a true mix. But don't be offended, that's just my personal opinion. I mean, I do love MMA, I just don't think the name is too fitting. And I think the reason I started criticising MMA in this way was because I wanted to find a way to make a truer form of mixed martial arts where more arts are used, and you know, we can take the best from all the arts and make something that's a lot more effective in all situations. So the big question here was, how can we take the best from different martial arts? I mean, I don't know all the martial arts, and I'm pretty sure most people don't really know much about more than 3 or 4 arts. And so I started thinking, I've made Instagram accounts before, and I had some experience. I didn't do too well, and I thought, you know, Instagram's a good place where people talk, you know, there's a lot of engagement, and it was a starting place to get people to hear about the message I was trying to give, really. So now with about 113,000 of you following me, I realised it was time to take things to the next level and start a YouTube channel. My brother's also working on a forum for Martial Nation, and that's where things should really start to get interesting. My aim is to get everyone to communicate with everyone, to find solutions for different problems in different arts, and kind of, you know, have Judo people learning from boxing people learning from wrestlers learning from Kung Fu people, like, well, practitioners even. And, you know, it's just to develop martial arts as a whole and create a truer form of mixed martial arts where, you know, the fighting isn't all about fighting inside a cage. It's about something versatile and something more effective in a wider range of situations. Alright, so I'm aiming to make a video now every week or so, every 2 weeks, if I can't make it every week. But I'm going to need your help on what to make these videos about, so don't forget to leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you liked the video and give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, I'm sorry.